Hey everybody, it's Ryan here, pastor of ministry support here at Rock Point Church. Over the last couple weeks, I have been excited to see our staff teams up on stage talking about their roles. I've been excited to see volunteers and volunteer teams up on stage talking about their roles and ways to serve and ways to get involved and ways to get into community. That has been awesome. But you might be looking at me and saying to yourself, what exactly does pastor of ministry support mean? What does this guy do? So I want to bring some definition to that. So if you take the previous operations director role, you take the previous executive pastor role, you sprinkle in a little preaching, that's essentially what I do here at Rock Point, which means I give some oversight and leadership to areas like human resources, our facility management, operational health and safety, our administration, IT needs, AV tech needs, and just helping our lead team and our staff with strategic pieces. But thank goodness I don't do these pieces all alone. I've got a great operations team and they use their individual strengths to really build that strength into each of these different areas. So, loving the role. Over the past 9 months, it's been fantastic. Now, additionally, there's one other area that I give oversight to, and that is our financial well-being as a church. And I do so alongside Irene Huseman, our financial administrator, and the finance team. And it's just that, our financial well-being as a church, that I want to talk to you about. But let's be realistic and honest. Most of the time talking about finances, whether it's in our personal life or whether it's corporately here at the church, can be a little bit awkward, but it ought not to be so. In fact, it's something we need to take seriously, but also communicate much, much better and communicate much more often in the days to come. And I'm excited to see that start happening today. Now, again, being realistic, being honest, another side of finances here at Rock Point is that our giving has trended downward over the last couple years. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one was COVID. Our attendance and our giving, it trended downward, obviously, over this time period. But also, as jobs change, as inflation rises, as costs rise, that also impacts giving. And not only that, but walking through a lot of difficult staffing change and organizational structural change, this impacts giving as well. And lastly, 75 to 90% statistically of Canadians who actually attend a church don't give at all. And so, of course, this is another reason why our giving has been impacted. And yet, through it all, God has been so good, and it's something to celebrate together, that He has provided, that God's church always wins, and that's true of Rock Point too. And you only need to look at how we ended this past year to see God's faithfulness and His goodness. And I just want to thank each of you for stepping in and helping us have a really, really strong end to our year financially. So with all that being said, here's what I'm thinking. Over the next couple weeks, I want to talk to you about our financial well-being as a church, but specifically about a few things. Firstly, what happens when I give? Where does that money go? Because I think there's sometimes a disconnect between what I give, what I tithe, and where that money's actually going and what it's being used for. And I want to help connect the dots there. Secondly, what is tithing? What does it look like? How do I do it? What are the methods? How do I tithe personally, but how do I understand this as a community and as a family here at Rock Point? Thirdly, where are we currently at financially as a church, and what's it going to take to be in a really strong position? And then lastly, how will we be communicating about our finances and our financial well-being in the days to come? So I'm excited for this, and my biggest commitment to you all, not just in this area, but in all of my leadership, with all of my teams, in my preaching, is to be honest and transparent with you about it all. So I'm excited to talk about this important area of our financial well-being with you. And yes, I'm absolutely going to be asking for your prayerful partnership on what God is doing in and through Rock Point Church to step alongside us financially in where God is leading us. And I think not only so we have strength as a church, but also we want to have a really strong financial foundation for the outcome of a lead pastor search and whoever it is that God is calling to serve here. So I'll leave it at that. I love you, Rock Point. I love walking with Jesus, with you, and right along beside you. So until next week.